The rain hammered against the hospital windows that Tuesday night, each drop like a heartbeat against glass. Inside the emergency room, Dr. Elena Martinez moved with the precision of someone who had done this 1,000 times before. Her hands never shook. Her voice never wavered. For 15 years, she had been the steady force in the chaos, the last hope when hope seemed impossible. "We need another unit of O negative," she called out, her eyes fixed on the monitor above the trauma bed. A car accident victim. Critical condition. The same age as her daughter, Lily. That thought flickered through her mind for just a second before she pushed it away. There was no room for distraction here. No space for the personal when lives hung in the balance. At exactly 9:47 p.m., her phone buzzed in her pocket. She felt it but didn't reach for it. Another buzz. Then another. The surgery was at a critical point. The patient's heart rate was dropping. Elena made the call that saved him, her fingers working with practiced grace, her mind calculating odds and outcomes faster than the machines around her. She didn't know that across the city, on a rain-slicked highway, her 17-year-old daughter had just lost control of her car. She didn't know that Lily had been trying to reach her, wanting to tell her mother she was scared of driving in the storm, hoping for permission to stay at her friend's house instead. She didn't know that the last text Lily sent read, "Mom, please call me back. I need you." By the time Elena finished the surgery and pulled her phone from her pocket, there were 12 missed calls. Not from Lily. From the police. The patient she saved that night would go home to his family 2 weeks later. He was her 1,000th save, though no one was counting. Elena would never go home the same way again. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Mindful Path for more stories that inspire and heal. Now, let us begin tonight's journey together. Elena Martinez had always believed that saving lives was her calling. From the moment she put on that white coat at 26, fresh out of medical school with determination burning in her eyes, she knew this was what she was born to do. Her colleagues called her the miracle worker. Patients called her their guardian angel. But her daughter Lily simply called her absent. The first time Elena missed a school play, Lily was 8 years old. She had the lead role, a singing flower in the spring musical. Elena had promised she would be there, front row, camera ready. But that afternoon, a bus accident brought 17 patients through the emergency room doors, and Elena stayed. She always stayed. When she finally came home at midnight, she found Lily asleep on the couch, still wearing her flower costume, a handmade card clutched in her small hands. It read, "To the best mom in the world." Elena had cried quietly in the bathroom that night, then went back to the hospital for the morning shift. The pattern repeated itself year after year. Missed birthdays. Forgotten recitals. Parent-teacher conferences attended by Lily's grandmother instead. Each time, Elena told herself it was temporary. Each time, she promised it would be different next time. But in the emergency room, there was always a next time. Always another life hanging by a thread. Always another family who needed her more than her own daughter seemed to. What Elena didn't see was how Lily learned to stop asking. How the excited "Mom, can you come to my game?" slowly transformed into "It's okay, I know you're busy." How the daughter who once drew pictures of them holding hands began drawing pictures of herself alone. Lily became self-sufficient out of necessity, teaching herself to cook, to do homework without help, to navigate the painful terrain of teenage life without a mother's guidance. By the time Lily turned 15, they were strangers living in the same house. Their conversations happened in the gaps between Elena's shifts, brief exchanges about groceries and laundry, practical matters that required no emotional investment. Lily had learned not to share her fears, her dreams, her heartbreaks. What was the point? Her mother was always saving someone else's child. But Elena told herself a different story. She convinced herself that she was teaching Lily independence, strength, resilience. She was showing her daughter what it meant to have purpose, to serve something greater than yourself. Wasn't that noble? Wasn't that worth the sacrifice? Every time she saved a life, she felt it, that rush of meaning, that confirmation that she mattered. In the emergency room, she was essential. At home, she felt like an interruption. There was one Tuesday evening, 3 weeks before the accident, when something shifted. Elena came home early, an unprecedented event. She found Lily sitting at the kitchen table, staring at college brochures, tears streaming down her face. For a moment, Elena almost asked what was wrong. She almost sat down. She almost chose her daughter. But then her phone rang, the hospital needed her for a consultation, and she told Lily they would talk later. They never did. Lily had been crying because she realized she was planning her entire future around her mother's absence. She was choosing colleges across the country not because she wanted to leave, but because she had already been left. She was learning that love, if it existed at all, was something you fit into other people's schedules, something that came after the important things. On the night of the storm, Lily had gotten her driver's license just 2 months earlier. She was still nervous behind the wheel, especially in bad weather. She had called her mother 4 times before getting in the car, hoping Elena would tell her to stay put, to be safe, to wait. But Elena's phone was silenced in her pocket, and Lily made the choice she had been trained to make: don't be a burden, handle it yourself, your problems are not emergencies. The drive home was only 12 miles. Lily made it to mile 9. A truck hydroplaned in the opposite lane, crossed the median, and in the space of 3 seconds, everything Elena had ever worked for became meaningless. The irony was not lost on the paramedics who arrived at the scene. They recognized the name on Lily's driver's license. They knew Dr. Martinez. They had worked with her countless times. And they knew, even as they loaded Lily into the ambulance, that some miracles don't happen, even for miracle workers. Lily arrived at the same emergency room where her mother worked, but Elena wasn't there to receive her. She was 2 floors up, still working on her 1,000th save, still believing that she was doing the most important work in the world. By the time someone found Elena and brought her down, by the time she ran through those familiar corridors that suddenly felt like a maze, by the time she burst through the trauma room doors, it was already over. The doctor who had tried to save Lily, a young resident Elena had trained herself, could barely look her in the eye. "We did everything we could," he said, using the same words Elena had said to 1,000 other families. But those words meant nothing now. They were just sounds, empty and hollow, echoing in the space where her daughter used to be. Elena stood over Lily's body, still wearing her own white coat, still technically on duty, and finally understood what she had done. She had saved 1,000 strangers and lost the one person who should have mattered most. She had spent 15 years running toward other people's emergencies and running away from her own life. And now, there was no surgery that could fix this. No procedure that could bring back time. No miracle left for the miracle worker. In the weeks that followed, Elena walked through her life like a ghost haunting her own existence. She took a leave of absence from the hospital, something she had never done in 15 years. Her colleagues sent flowers and cards with carefully worded condolences, but none of them truly understood. How could they? They still believed in the nobility of sacrifice, in the righteousness of putting duty above all else. Elena had believed it too, right up until the moment that belief killed her daughter. She spent hours reading through Lily's journals, discovering a child she had never really known. Page after page of a young girl trying to understand why she wasn't enough to make her mother stay. There were poems about loneliness, essays about feeling invisible, sketches of a family that existed only in imagination. One entry, dated 6 months before the accident, read, "I think my mom loves saving people because it's easier than loving me. Strangers are grateful. Strangers don't ask for much. Strangers don't remind her of everything she's missing." The truth in those words shattered something fundamental in Elena. Her daughter had seen clearly what Elena had spent years denying. She hadn't been sacrificing for noble reasons. She had been hiding. The emergency room had been her refuge from the messy, complicated work of actually being present. It was easier to be a hero to strangers than to be human with her own child. We tell ourselves stories to justify our choices. Elena had told herself that she was changing the world, that her work mattered more than birthday parties and bedtime stories. But here's what she learned too late: the world didn't need her as much as she needed to feel needed. There were other doctors, other surgeons, other people who could have saved those 1,000 lives. But there was only one person who could have been Lily's mother, and Elena had abdicated that role one missed moment at a time. The paradox of the healer is this: we become so skilled at fixing what's broken in others that we lose the ability to see what's breaking right in front of us. Elena could read a cardiac monitor from across a room, could spot internal bleeding from the slightest change in vital signs, but she had missed every sign that her daughter was drowning. The withdrawal. The silence. The way Lily had stopped fighting for her mother's attention because losing that fight hurt too much. 3 months after the funeral, Elena returned to work. But something had fundamentally changed. She could no longer lose herself in the rush of emergency medicine. Every patient reminded her of the one she had failed. Every family she saved was a mirror reflecting the family she had destroyed. Her hand still knew what to do, but her heart was no longer in it. The armor she had worn for 15 years had cracked, and she couldn't put it back together. One evening, she was treating a teenage girl who had been in a car accident, minor injuries, nothing serious. The girl's mother burst into the emergency room, frantic and sobbing, clutching her daughter's hand like she would never let go. Elena watched the mother whisper, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here," like a prayer, like a promise. And Elena understood what she should have known all along: presence is not the same as proximity. You can be in the same house and still be absent. You can save lives and still fail at living. So what do we take from Elena's story? What wisdom can we pull from this tragedy? Here are 3 truths that might save us from her mistakes. First, understand that there is no such thing as quality time without quantity time. We cannot schedule connection. We cannot pencil in intimacy between our other obligations. The people we love need us to show up not just for the big moments, but for the ordinary ones, the boring Tuesday evenings, the unremarkable mornings, the 1,000 small moments that actually build a life together. Lily didn't need a hero. She needed a mother who was there. Second, recognize that our work, no matter how important, is not our worth. Elena had confused her identity with her occupation. She was a doctor, yes, but she was also a mother, and she had decided which role mattered more. The truth is, we are not what we do. We are who we love and who loves us back. When Elena lay awake at night after Lily died, her 1,000 saved lives meant nothing. The only number that mattered was one, the one life she had failed to save, the one person who had needed her most. Third, accept that some urgencies are real and some we create to avoid what's actually urgent. Elena had used her job as an escape. Every emergency call was permission to avoid the real emergency at home, a daughter growing up without her, a relationship dying from neglect, a family fracturing in slow motion. We do this in different ways. Some of us hide in work. Some in hobbies. Some in causes and missions. We tell ourselves we're doing important things, but sometimes we're just running from the most important thing, being fully present with the people who love us. Here's the question Elena wished someone had asked her 15 years ago. What will matter when it's too late? Not the promotions. Not the accolades. Not the number of lives saved or problems solved. What will matter is whether the people who loved us felt that love in return. Whether we showed up. Whether we were there. Think about your own life right now. Who is waiting for you to be present? Who have you been telling, through your actions if not your words, that they are not the priority? What are you using as an excuse to avoid the vulnerability of truly being seen by the people who matter most? These questions are uncomfortable because we all, in our own ways, are running from something. We all have our version of Elena's emergency room, the place we hide when being human becomes too hard. Elena's story is not just about a doctor who worked too much. It's about all of us, about the ways we convince ourselves that we'll have time later, that there will be another chance, that the people we love will understand. But time is the one thing we can never get back, and understanding is cold comfort when presence is what was needed all along. What would you do differently if you knew you were living on borrowed time? What conversations would you have? What moments would you stop missing? Don't wait for tragedy to teach you what Elena learned too late. The life you save needs to include your own. Here is the truth that Elena learned when it was too late, and the truth we must carry with us while there is still time. No amount of success in the world can ever compensate for failure in the home, and no professional calling, however noble or necessary, is worth the cost of losing the people who need us most. We live in a world that celebrates busyness, that honors sacrifice, that tells us our worth is measured by our productivity and our impact on strangers. But in the quiet hours, when the applause fades and the recognition means nothing, what remains is only this: did the people we love feel loved? Were we there when it mattered? Did we choose presence over performance? Elena's story invites us to pause, to breathe deeply, and to look honestly at how we are spending the unrepeatable moments of our lives. Perhaps you are reading this right now, and somewhere in your heart, you feel a gentle tug, a quiet knowing that you have been running too fast, working too hard, hiding behind obligations that feel important but may not be essential. Perhaps there is someone in your life, a child, a partner, a parent, a friend, who has been waiting for you to truly see them, to put down the phone, to turn off the noise, and to simply be present. The beautiful, tender truth is that it is not too late for you. Not yet. You still have today. You still have this evening, this conversation, this chance to choose differently. Elena cannot go back, but you can move forward with intention, with awareness, with the wisdom that her tragedy offers us. Imagine, for just a moment, what might shift if you decided that the people closest to you are your most important work. Not your only work, but your most sacred work. What if you measured success not by how many people you impressed, but by how deeply you connected with the few who truly matter? What if being ordinary, being present, being quietly available was actually the most extraordinary thing you could do? There is still time to send that text message, to make that phone call, to sit down at the table and ask how someone's day really was and then listen, really listen, to the answer. There is still time to apologize for the ways you have been absent, to acknowledge that you have let other things become more important than the love right in front of you. There is still time to change the story before it ends. Let Elena's heartbreak become your awakening. Let her regret become your resolve. Choose presence. Choose the uncomfortable vulnerability of truly showing up. Choose the people who love you while they are still here to receive that love. And know this, with gentleness and with certainty, you are not defined by your past absences, but by your present choices. Every moment offers a new beginning. Every breath is another chance to love better, to be more fully human, to honor what matters most. May you find the courage to slow down, the wisdom to see what is truly urgent, and the grace to be present for the people who need you most. May you never have to learn, as Elena did, that you can save the whole world and still lose everything that makes life worth living. Rest well tonight, knowing that tomorrow offers another opportunity to choose love over distraction, presence over performance, connection over achievement. You are enough, exactly as you are. And the people who love you need nothing more than your attention, your time, your heart. If you found value and meaning in today's story, we would be grateful if you would tap the like button below this video. And if you find the content we share here helpful and meaningful, please consider subscribing and sharing Mindful Path so that these stories can reach more people who might need them. Thank you for your presence here tonight, and may you have a peaceful day filled with clarity and gentle energy.